Hey everyone! So it's been a while since the version 3.8 beta started, and honestly, the beta tester feedback about Dahlia has been pretty interesting. Some of the most reliable beta testers out there have shared their first impressions, and they're quite revealing. Let's break down what they're saying and what it means for Super Break teams moving forward. Save up to 25% on Oneiric Shards at lootbar.gg. To celebrate version 3.7, you can grab the 6,480 Oneiric Shard pack, normally $100 in-game, for just $76 on Loot Bar. That's 81 pulls, almost guaranteeing you a 5-star for your account while saving you $24. The process is super simple. Just enter your UID, select your server, and receive your crystals in under a minute. No password needed. Loot Bar uses official recharge channels, has hundreds of 5-star reviews, and partnerships with several big content creators that you probably know, so everything is completely safe. Loot Bar also supports PlayStation 5 and Xbox top-ups. Click the link in the description to get your discount. New users get an extra 10% discount, while returning users get 5%. Alright, so this beta tester has been playing extensively with Dahlia in the 3.8 beta, and their first impression is brutally honest. They basically said that Hoyo is trying to save the Super Break archetype by completely erasing what made it unique. Their exact words were something like, they're letting it deal damage freely, like normal crit DPS. Except it's just crit damage without the crit. And look, when you really think about it, they're not wrong. The entire identity of Super Break was that you had to break enemies first before you could unleash those massive damage numbers. That was the whole gameplay. Shred the toughness bar, trigger the break, then watch the explosion. But now with Dahlia, you can deal Super Break damage even when enemies aren't broken. This literally changes everything about how the archetype works. The tester went even further and pointed out that Hoyo is actively nerfing other archetypes to make this work. They're adding boss mechanics that reduce crit damage, prevent crit damage completely in certain situations, and even reduce your damage when enemies aren't broken. It's like they're intentionally creating scenarios where traditional crit DPS suffers while Super Break gets a free pass. The thing that really caught my attention is how this affects DOT teams. The tester mentioned that even the DOT archetype, which everyone thought would be safe from these changes, is getting hit hard. Specifically, Kafka is being bricked in the new Anomaly Arbitration mode because of the energy reduction mechanics. When you enter combat, all allies lose 50% of their energy, and energy regeneration drops by half for 2 turns. For Kafka, who relies on spamming her ultimate every turn through follow-up attacks, this is devastating. Tribi and Evernight is also affected by this, but Remembrance teams are still performing way too well for it to matter much. They're simply too powerful to ignore these penalties. But for DOT team mains, this is rough. Despite all the criticism, the tester actually thinks Dahlia's kit design is genuinely interesting. The biggest winner here is obviously Firefly. Fire Element Break DPS is getting the biggest benefit from Dahlia's support capabilities. Her kit includes follow-up attacks, skill point regeneration, energy recovery, weakness implant, and multiple enemy debuffs. She's absolutely packed with utility. One important detail mentioned is that having a healer or shielder on Dahlia's team seems pretty crucial. Without sustain, you're potentially losing a huge break effect buff for the entire team. However, I think you could actually play without sustain if you replace Lingsha or Gallagher with Harmony Trailblazer or Ruin Mei. Both provide really powerful buffs for Super Break teams, so it might actually work. There's also some interesting speculation about future content. Some people think the new boss mechanics and buffs in the 3.8 beta might be early hints that the Elation path coming in Edo Star will focus on DPS that doesn't deal crit-based damage and relies on off-turn damage with high skill point consumption. This is pure speculation for now, but it's an intriguing thought. The real question everyone's asking is who benefits most from Dahlia? Firefly, Boothill, or Rappa? Based on what we're seeing now, Firefly seems to be the clear winner since she's a fire break DPS who can fully utilize everything Dahlia offers. But we're still only in Beta 5.1. There will be tons of adjustments and changes before we reach V5 or V6, so nothing is set in stone yet. What we can say for sure is that Dahlia's arrival gives the Super Break archetype a real chance to compete with other meta teams again. The performance increase compared to before is significant, and if these numbers hold up during beta testing, we might see a complete shift in the meta. Of course, all of this is subject to change. Beta information is never final, and Hoyo has a history of making major adjustments before characters actually launch. But at least for now, Super Break players have something to be excited about. The archetype isn't dead, It's just evolving into something completely different from what it used to be. Let me know what you think of these leaks in the comments. Are you planning to pull for Dahlia when she releases in version 3.8? And do you think these changes are good for the game overall, or is Hoyo sacrificing too much archetype identity just to try and make Super Break relevant again? Leave your thoughts in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next videos.